Chapter 11, Discovery. Naruto did not go home that night. Instead, he spent the rest of the night in one of his dimensions, his favorite, the ice dimension, where he would gaze at the snow-filled mountains and enjoy the snow itself. Not only he would enjoy the snow, but he's free to roam around the dimension in his true form. He decided to continue study his newfound powers, to which it included his Gelel stone powers, the meteorite's powers, and lately the destroyed Shinju. He cut off his own arms and then it regrew back into place. Happy with this quick regeneration process, he thought to himself that he was entirely immortal. Going inside his palace, he looked at the mirror and into his reflection. Looking at himself, he swore revenge on those who have wronged him and his comrades. Activating his new dojutsu, he looked closely and he noted that his eyes are extremely different from the other dojutsus, because its appearance is alien. Deciding to discover its real powers, he tried it, where there appeared a glyph similar to the look of his dojutsu and a creature has been summoned. Now morning, instead of following Kakashi's orders not to eat breakfast, he ate one huge meal. A meal consisted of the life forces of random civilians he picked up in Konoha, enveloping all of them into his black mass as their bodies crumbled to ash. Naruto burped and said, "I'm extremely full. Feels so good." As news by Purple Zetsu to him, lots of Onbu were investigating the disappearances of various civilians under orders from the Hokage. They haven't even found a clue as to whom or what causes them to vanish. Not a single corpse could be seen, and civilians in Konoha fear for their lives that maybe they're the ones next. That's the reason why the Hokage implemented a law a few years back never to roam at night. Even the number of missing civilians was gradually decreasing. Hiruzen remained vigilant, and Naruto smirked at the gesture of this, as he was the reason why some civilians in Konoha vanished, not only in Konoha but in other villages in the Land of Fire as well. He hasn't kidnapped civilians outside of the Land of Fire, but he would gladly do so if he was in the mood for it. After all, some civilians in Konoha would be his food because they're the reason of his suffering, and even though he eats those civilians, he would still go to Ichiraku ramen stand to eat. He was now in the training grounds, and he saw Sasuke and Sakura coming off from different directions. As soon as they were gathered, Naruto thought that Kakashi would be late, and according to some intel given by Purple Zetsu to him, Kakashi is always late by almost 3 hours. "Oh, my. He told us to get early, yet he was late," Sakura exclaimed. "Right, Sasuke-kun? Humph. And have you heard of the news? He was peeping in the women's bathhouse yesterday, which caused him to be reprimanded by the Hokage himself. I didn't expect those things would be his hobbies. He's a pervert," she said in an annoyed tone. Naruto forced not to laugh, as it was his own fault why Kakashi did those things. After all, he hypnotized him to peep on women. Knowing that he would be late, Naruto decided to storm off on his own. "Naruto, where are you going?" Sakura asked. "Somewhere down the road," he said impassively. Sasuke glared at Naruto suspiciously. Ever since they've graduated in the academy, Naruto's overall attitude has changed. He was not that loud and boisterous ninja anymore, instead he was cold or sometimes difficult to read at. Did something happen? He thought. As Naruto walked, now far from the training grounds, he has learned the powers of his dojutsu. He was extremely excited to give them a try. Flashback. Deciding to discover its real powers, he tried it, where there appeared a glyph similar to the look of his dojutsu and a creature has been summoned. "Who are you?" the creature asked. "Those eyes, forgive my ignorance, my lord." "What are you?" Naruto asked. "A celestial spirit and my name is Leo. Your eyes are called the Saiyajin, obtained when one has eaten the golden fruit of that particular species of the Shinju." "Particular species of the Shinju?" Naruto asked curiously. "A particular species wherein several seeds of the Shinju fused into one and it grew on a particular place. A common Shinju produces fruit every 1,000 years, but this species produces one every 3 months. It's because not only it absorbs the nature energy of this world but also the nature energy that comes from the sun, moon and stars and from the outer space itself. That's why it bears fruit so fast," he explained. "Then why does the fruit dissolve when it is not eaten on the day it blooms?" "The fruit contains much power that it dissolves when not eaten the day after yesterday. However, the golden one was much more powerful. Anyone who has eaten it dies immediately, but in your case, you're the only one successful." "The only one?" "Mysterious people tried to find this particular species of the Shinju in various realms, and when they've succeeded, they would stay on the planet until it dies. However, a particular person tried eating the golden fruit of that Shinju and he ended up dying, forcing him to pass his acquired powers to his descendants. It's rare to find someone who's successful. Those who were successful would have the ability to summon us from the spirit's realm. I presume that your strong will of acquiring much power lead you into this. Naruto grinned. Well, there's this pulsating object inside the tree. It came inside my body after I've eaten the golden fruit. Leo's eyes widened with surprise. What? Something wrong? It only means one thing. As I've said earlier, your desire of power was extremely great that the Shinju surrendered into you and made you use its powers, thus making you the keeper of its power. I see. So the Shinju was alive after all, he smirked. Yes. Then, I'll use its powers to reach my greatest ambition. Leo just looked at Naruto laughing as he disappeared, dismissed by Naruto as he gained the knowledge on how to use the Saiyajin. Naruto couldn't help but smirked at this. Bored, he meditated for 3 hours, absorbing nature energy from his surroundings or in his terms eating. 3 hours have passed, he decided to go back to the training grounds. Kakashi was already there and he asked. Where have you gone? Just sleeping. By the way, I've heard rumors that you're notoriously late when it comes to meetings. Besides, I've also heard that one of your hobbies is to peep on women. Kakashi paled at Naruto's statement, whereas the two other ninjas chuckled. That's right. You're indeed a pervert, Sakura exclaimed. Back to the topic, what shall we do now? Sasuke asked. Kakashi takes out an alarm clock and puts it on a nearby stump. Then he takes out 2 silver bells. All you need to do is get these 2 bells from me. Do that, and you'll be officially a Genin, he said. But sensei, there are only 2 bells, Sakura replied. Kakashi nodded and Sakura and Sasuke's faces showed duress whereas Naruto began to smirk at the statement. Kakashi then notices Naruto smirking at the perspective of the test. He could see that Naruto's planning something. Alright, the alarm clock is set to noon. You have time until then to get the bell. The test starts when I say go. Kakashi waits for a moment and says, go. As Kakashi speaks these words, he was thinking of today's missing civilians. The mysterious person has attacked once again. After a year of silence, the attacks have again started. Who kidnaps the civilians? What is his motive? He thought. Chapter 12, it begins. Sasuke and Sakura were now hiding, Sasuke behind a tree while Sakura was under a bush. Naruto was walking in the forest and when he sensed no one else is watching, he used Yomatsu Hirasaka and transported himself into his ice dimension. As he was within the palace of his dimension, he walked closely to the mirror and it showed that Kakashi was looking to where Sakura and Sasuke were hiding, including him. Too bad he doesn't know I have numerous dimensions at my disposal, Naruto smirked. Naruto observed the ensuing test and Kakashi saw Sakura. Kakashi casted a genjutsu at Sakura with a wounded Sasuke coming to her and that made her to pass out. I wouldn't expect that she passed out for such a simple genjutsu. She needs improvement, Kakashi muttered. Sasuke heard Sakura scream, and he muttered, damn. One taken down, I must get the bells, he said. As he saw Kakashi reading Icha Icha, he attacked him with a series of shuriken, to which Kakashi managed to evade. Too bad I can't read now, he said smiling. Sasuke was right in front of him and attacked him. Fire release, great fireball technique. Sasuke blew a fire towards Kakashi, to which he was hit, only for it to be turned into a wooden log. A substitution? Where is he? Sasuke wondered. Earth release, hiding like a mole technique. A hand grabbed Sasuke's ankle and he was pushed under the ground with his head poking up. You may know ninjutsu but it doesn't mean you could defeat me with something as simple as that, Kakashi said. He then soon disappeared in a poof of smoke. As Sasuke was trapped underground, Sakura, having woken up from the genjutsu saw Sasuke and she screamed once again and passed out. Sasuke sighed with this and wondered, where did that idiot go? Meanwhile, in the ice dimension, Naruto was laughing and laughing getting his teammates being whipped by Kakashi. Deciding to take matters in his hands, exited the dimension. Kakashi was walking, wanting to find Naruto yet he couldn't find him. A flurry of kunai was thrown into him to which he evaded and Naruto showed himself. You're good at hiding, Naruto, Kakashi complimented. Shall we dance? Naruto asked. Kakashi's eyes widened in surprise as he heard Naruto spoke those words. Seeing the reaction on his sensei's face, he smirked and muttered, Saiyajin. His eyes changed, the surprise within Kakashi doubled, seeing Naruto having a dojutsu. Minato-sensei doesn't have a dojutsu or Kushina-san. Where did he get this one? He thought. Sire again, release the gate of the bull, Taurus. A glyph appeared where a half-bull, half-humanoid beast was standing. He was wielding a giant axe and his upper torso is a bull filled with brown fur and his lower torso consists of a humanoid leg with torn pants. Taurus, attack him. When Taurus swung his axe into the ground split open, prompting Kakashi to jump. Such enormous strength. Naruto, tell me, how did you awaken this dojutsu? What was that? Sakura exclaimed. Sakura and Sasuke got up and followed the direction of the noise. As they followed it, they were astounded by a humanoid bull fighting Kakashi and they've seen Naruto just standing while their Jonin-sensei fights the bull. What kind of creature was that? Sakura said surprised. Naruto, Sasuke said shocked. Sasuke, what is it? Sasuke pointed towards Naruto and Sakura was also surprised that Naruto has a strange-looking dojutsu in his eyes. As Taurus and Kakashi were exchanging blows, Naruto stood there watching impassively. Naruto, what kind of dojutsu is this? Is this the ability of your eyes? Kakashi asked. Yes. Then, I think I must get a little serious as well. Kakashi did some hand seals and said, water release, water dragon. An enormous water shaped up like a dragon went up the ground and flowed towards Naruto. Naruto smirked with this. You used water to attack me. Then, I shall use one that specializes with water. Sire again, release the gate of the water bearer, Aquarius. A barefooted woman wearing a skimpy tube dress made of seaweed appeared. It shows off her huge bosoms, long legs with blue anklets and her bare back. Her hair and eyes were as blue as the sea. The woman has blue shells adorning her head and she has blue necklaces that were made of corals. She had bracelets made of gold and she carries a blue urn. You summoned me to fight this weakling? Aquarius chuckled. Naruto just stared at her with impassive gaze. Well then, even though I hate being ordered, I would do as much as you say. The others have their eyes widened with surprise as there was another summon, this time a human, especially Kakashi. What is this? Kakashi spoke. The woman's extremely beautiful, having huge bosoms and her skimpy dress clutching tightly at her sexy figure. Aquarius absorbed the technique with her urn and she released the technique double the amount to Kakashi. How was that? Aquarius said smirking. Taurus and Aquarius, dismiss. Then the two summons disappeared. Kakashi dodged the attack with his earth release, earth-style wall. The attack was blocked and then the water dissipated. Naruto, you're interesting, Kakashi thought. Before Kakashi would do some hand seals, Naruto muttered. Sire again, release the gate of the lion, Leo. A young man dressed in furry yellow clothing appeared. His eyes were yellow with slits and have brown spiky hair similar to a lion. Light release, solar beam, Naruto ordered. As you wish, Leo replied. He then lit the whole surroundings, almost blinding everyone. Then Naruto used Yomatsu Hirasaka where he slid his hand going to Kakashi's pocket, taking up the bells. Leo dismiss. Soon, Leo disappeared. You failed. It's almost time already. You know, Kakashi trailed when he was interrupted by Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, I've won, he said smirking. He then showed the two bells. Naruto, how did you do it? Kakashi asked. He heard Sasuke and Sakura walking towards him, looking at him with a shocked expression on their faces. Naruto didn't answer, instead he smiled in a haughty manner. Which one is going back in the academy? Kakashi asked. Before Sakura and Sasuke could ask about the summons, Naruto looked at them with his Sharingan activated and altering their memories, making them believe that Naruto defeated Kakashi with the multi-shadow clone technique. Naruto got the bells, why go back? Sakura asked. What is the purpose of this test? Teamwork, Naruto spoke. It is in this matter that we should work together, however, the two of them hates me because they think I'm a dead last. Well, that's the truth but I'm a capable ninja, one should say, a late bloomer perhaps. Kakashi looked at him and said, well then, you all pass. That's thanks to Naruto. However, I'll consider it. I hope you three would get along as much, and I don't like you fighting all along. He then motions the three to follow him and they soon arrived at the memorial stone. This memorial holds the names of ninja who have died in the line of duty to protect this village. The names of my best friends are on here. As are the names of our fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, sons, and daughters. It is a reminder of their sacrifice to this village, he spoke. He then turned to his students. Individual strength would only get you so far, you will one day fight a superior opponent and teamwork would be needed to defeat that opponent. Every mission we go on can end in your death. If you don't work together to protect one another, then your name will end up on this monument as well. He takes a deep breath as his eyes go back to the monument once more. Those who abandon the mission are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash, he added. You three are the first ever to pass the test. The other two smiled whereas Naruto frowned. Tomorrow, we'll meet at the Hokage Tower for our first mission and see if we can get some training in there. Now, who's up for lunch? Soon, the stomachs of Sasuke and Sakura were growling except for Naruto. I'll pass, Naruto said. As the two ate their lunch, Kakashi and Naruto went somewhere to talk privately. Naruto, how did you gain that dojutsu? And what is its name? Before I'll tell you, I have a present. A present? Yes, answered Naruto smirking. Naruto's eyes changed into Sharingan and before Kakashi knew it, he was under Naruto's hypnosis. The knowledge of yours that I have a dojutsu will vanish. I defeated you with the multi-shadow clone technique, thus getting the bells. Now, go and peep in the women's bathhouse again. Kakashi soon left, unaware that he was under Naruto's hypnosis again. Chapter 13, Vanish. Flashback. Creating purple Zetsu after learning from the dead Mizuki that the Kyuubi was sealed inside him, he decided to enter his mindscape. So the jailer has come to meet his prisoner, he growled. So, you're the reason why some villagers have been accusing me of destroying their homes. It's none of your concern. And what is this power? How did you gain this? He asked. Oh, I thought you knew, considering you've been inside me for so long. Anyway, I'm not telling you, Kurama, Naruto replied, grinning devilishly. TSK. How did you know my name? Reading minds, perhaps? I doubt. Don't be so arrogant, you fool. Come here and I shall rip you to pieces. Naruto simply smirked and Kurama was surprised that he was in a place with lava and erupting volcanoes. Brat, what did you do? I've simply transported you into one of my dimensions. You're free now, however. Naruto trailed off when Kurama attempted to attack him, only for Naruto to entangle him with a black mass thereby absorbing his chakra. Kurama suddenly felt tired and lethargic. He was shocked to see that his body changed into a human and his original form was gone. What did you do? He growled angrily. He then used his power to chain Kurama and exited the dimension, leaving the screaming former Baijuwu behind. So you intend me to cooperate with your plan? Kurama said angrily. Naruto was now in his lava dimension, smirking at the once Baijuwu chained. Be thankful that I made you into human, Kurama. After all, I intend to free you into the wilderness, same as the wild fox itself. If you truly want to be free, then you shall be my subordinate. Return me to my true form, he demanded. Why would I? Returning you to your true form would amass panic among the citizens. Besides, I've absorbed some of your chakra. Be thankful enough that I even left you alive. You're just a scattered piece of chakra, and if people were to discover you roaming around in your true form, that would be a ruin to my plan, Naruto replied. You, Kurama gritted his teeth. Kurama's form consists of an orange-haired youth with fierce bloody red eyes with slits. He has pronounced canines and he has eye bags. As I've said earlier, if you cooperate and agree to be my subordinate, I shall free you. I won't and I will never obey a human like you. Naruto, angry, entangled Kurama with a black mass and absorbed his chakra once more, leaving him near death. Continue disobeying me, and I will punish you for eternity, he spoke. He soon exited the lava dimension itself. Naruto put his turban back after removing them. He rejoiced at the news given to him by Purple Zetsu, manipulating the Hokage to stop the investigation concerning missing civilians. Naruto was pleased by the outcome of his plans. As soon as he arrived at the Hokage Tower, Sasuke and Sakura were already there, except for Kakashi. Damn, he's late once again, Sasuke said annoyingly. As he saw Naruto, he couldn't help but feel envious to the boy, defeating Kakashi in a single multi-shadow clone technique, unaware of the whole truth beyond the event. Fool, since when did you get this smart? Naruto stared at him and he smirked. It's not for you to know. Sasuke glared at him angrily and Sakura was a little scared by Naruto's attitude. Ever since graduating from the academy, he has changed. Naruto, what happened to you? Who were your parents? Why do you hate them? What are you hiding? She thought. A few moments later, teammate arrived. Oh Naruto, long time no see, Kiba said. Same to you, too, Kiba. You look ugly as always, Naruto replied. What? Kiba said angrily. Enough the both of you. Kurenai intervened. By the way, have you seen Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Kurenai's mood darkened and she replied, he was peeping at the women's bathhouse. Luckily, I wasn't there. If I were to see him peeping on me, I swear I'll beat him up into a bloody pulp. So, he would peep then go here? This is an embarrassment, Sasuke said annoyed. Naruto smirked. The command has been embedded into Kakashi's brain that even though he hasn't hypnotized him this day, it became an addiction at his part. Hinata was blushing at the sight of Naruto. Naruto knew from the very beginning that this girl has feelings for him, yet he doesn't mind them. He hates the Hyugas. And he saw Shino, always silent. According from Purple Zetsu, Shino is solitary in nature, stoic and mysterious, that's why he's decided that he would be instrumental to their plan. Shino, how's your day? Naruto asked cheerfully. Nothing special. You? Good. Shino, I would like to talk to you alone, is it okay? Why? You'll see, he replied. Kurenai-sensei, could we talk somewhere? It seems that your conversation would be very important. I'll give you time, don't just take too long, she replied. Yes, sensei. Let's go, Naruto said while grabbing Shino's wrist. What's up with them? Sakura said wondering. Naruto and Shino were now alone. So what is it that you want to talk about? Shino asked curiously. It's not like you who would talk privately. You really did change. People do change, Shino, Naruto replied smirking. So, what is it? Naruto didn't answer. Shino just stared at him. If you don't have anything to say, I'll go now, he said while turning his back at Naruto. Naruto simply smirked. Before Shino could react, a purple mass entered his mouth, suffocating him. Shino and Naruto then returned at the Hokage Tower. I give you my thanks, Naruto, he said. No worries. Well then, let us be friends, Naruto smiled cheerfully. Shino nodded in response. Oh my. Naruto has become friends with the weirdo? Sakura thought. Well, then we will leave, Kurenai said. Not long after Team 8 left, Team 10 arrived. Ino and Sakura were glaring at each other whereas Shikamaru looked at Naruto. Being a genius, he noticed that there was something wrong with his co-dead last. Naruto, how are you? He asked. I'm good, probably better, that Shino and I share the same hobbies, especially with insects. Choji has choked by Naruto's statement whereas Ino's eyes widen with shock similar to Shikamaru, Sasuke, and Sakura. Insects are gross, Ino exclaimed. By the way, what did you talk about? Sasuke asked. Just insects. And by the way, they're not gross. Naruto, did you hit your head or something? Sakura asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he averted his gaze at her and looked towards Asuma. Is Kakashi here? Asuma asked. I bet he was peeping in the women's bathhouse again, Ino said. We'll be going inside now. Take care, Asuma said. With that, Team 10 left. Team 7 were the only ones left waiting for their sensei. Naruto left the duo because he was annoyed that he would deal with these pests. Naruto, where are you going? Sakura exclaimed. Somewhere fun, was the reply. Geez, Sakura sighed. Then Naruto came to her and whispered, don't you want to be alone with Sasuke? I always leave the two of you when Kakashi-sensei is not around so you could develop your feelings with each other. Besides, I don't want to be a distraction. Naruto immediately left, leaving Sakura blushing. At last, Naruto was now alone. These days, he doesn't want to be around anyone, except for his family of course. He missed Tonari, Fuka, Sora and the others. Knowing that Kakashi would be late for 3 hours, he seized this opportunity and flew into their hideout, situated in Uzushio-gakure. As he arrived, he saw Sora and Sumaru playing cards with each other. Byakuya, what brings you here? Sora asked. I missed you all and of course I came to check if you're okay, same with Sumaru. Thanks to you and Temujin, we were healed. You were there, too, right? Yes, and I've absorbed the meteorite's chakra. So, where is it now? Sumaru asked. Destroyed. And no one will know about it. By the way, where are Tonari and the others? Tonari was sleeping right now, whereas Fuka, Kimimaro and Temujin went somewhere to gather recently dead ninjas, Sora replied. I see. I'll sleep today. I'll be back in Konoha after a few hours, he said. As Naruto entered his room, he thought back to the event where he was alone with Shino. Flashback. As the purple mass entered Shino's mouth, he was suffocating. The last thing he saw was Naruto smirking darkly and he said choking, "Wah, what have you done?" Those were the last words of Shino before he was fully taken over by Purple Zetsu. Chapter 14, Worthless Missions Gone. Naruto woke up after sleeping for 2 hours. Preparing himself to go back to Konoha, he thought that he would visit Kurama for a while. Using his Yomatsu Hirasaka, he transported himself to his lava dimension. Kyubi. You've decided to cooperate with me? Naruto asked. I must admit that your plan is ambitious, but I do not understand why you would do these things that you can even solve the problem itself given by your immense power, Kurama replied. One reason that I would not finish anything quickly, I want them to suffer in the most tortuous way possible. And besides, the more you do everything slowly, the more your plan would go into success. I have plenty of years to think for perfect solutions that would make them not suspicious for me. By the way, why did you attack Konoha? A masked man controlled me using his Mangekyo Sharingan. Knowing that the seal on your mother's womb would weaken upon your birth, he seized the opportunity to release me and control me. Who is the masked man? I don't know. And he has the same potency of the Sharingan with that man. That man? Naruto asked suspiciously. Uchiha Madara. Hearing this, he freed Kurama into his chains. I want you to investigate who that man is, Naruto ordered. Humph, that is the first thing I'm going to do. Now, let me out and I will investigate. Be careful, and also, do not be reckless. I will make you immune to Genjutsu by imbuing you some of my powers. In doing so, you would not risk yourself getting captured. Konoha. Arriving back at the Hokage Tower, Kakashi hasn't arrived. Naruto went near Sakura and asked, So, how's everything with Sasuke? Upon hearing this, she blushed. Attempting to hit him with her fist, Naruto evaded the attack. A few minutes later, Kakashi arrived. You're late again, Sakura said. Yeah, sorry my alarm clock broke and I overslept. Or maybe you're just peeping, Sasuke interrupted. I'm not peeping, Kakashi shouted. I don't have habits like these before. What's happening to me? He thought. Anyway, let's go ahead and execute our first mission. After getting their mission scroll, each was given a headset by Kakashi to communicate with each other. They had difficulty finding the cat, whereas Naruto would sit down and relax, as he didn't want to participate in this worthless mission. He wanted ones that are difficult and exciting in nature. He saw some flying insects and a thought came into his head. He commanded them to help him find the cat and following the insects, he saw the cat resting towards a roof. Get it? The insects did what they were told. They surrounded Tora and carried it off to Naruto. As Naruto held Tora, it was moving wanting to be free from Naruto's grasp. Soon, he was spotted by his team. Naruto, hold Tora properly, you'll end up hurting her, Sakura said. This cat is notorious for harming Jinan along the way, that's why I've decided to hold it on its tail. Team 7 went off their separate ways after returning the cat to its owner. As Naruto was walking, he saw Shino in a distance. Any news? He asked. I've been spying on some of the conversations of the Aburame clan, yet all of the conversations they had are all just about insects, he replied. What kind of insects? Mainly the Pikachu. Those insects were widely used by the clan during the Second Shinobi World War, but they've become endangered, that's why the clan has left them in forests where humans aren't there. You want me to get those insects? No need, Purple Zetsu or otherwise Shino. You can leave now. Yes, my lord. Zetsu soon disappeared from his sight. Naruto looked at the sky and thought, my dear sweet revenge, I can't wait for it to happen. A month passed and Naruto was continuing training himself in the use of his Saiyajin. He can use all respective dojutsus, yet he opted for his Saiyajin because it's powerful, and is only unique to him. A purple mass went inside his room inside his apartment, forming into the shape of Shino and said, An old man from Wave is requesting a C-rank mission for some Konoha ninjas to escort him back on his way home. Interested? Escort an old man? If there were enemies, then it will be much more exciting, Naruto said smirking. I suspect that there will be fights, my lord. Tell me, will you manipulate the third Hokage? Not for now. I'll convince him with my words. And besides, this would be a great opportunity to know the limits of what they call copy ninja Kakashi. Shino, do not let yourself be caught by your teammates. Shino just nodded and he left. The next morning, he went his way to the Hokage Tower and he was greeted by Sakura. So, another mission, huh? Do you think we opt for one that gives us some challenge? Yes, and considering it, it would be an opportunity to hone our skills further. That would be great. I think Kakashi-sensei would not let us do this thing. He will, Naruto said calmly. A few moments passed, Kakashi arrived. Yo, ready for your next mission? We are, Sasuke replied. Kakashi-sensei, I've been thinking this for a few days already. When would we get missions that are a bit exciting compared to those worthless missions? I really hate them, Naruto said annoyed. Kakashi thought about what Naruto said for a moment and finally convinced said, then, we should try out our first C-ranked mission. Inside the Hokage Tower. Team 7, you have come for another mission. I heard that Tora Cat escaped once again. Gigi, I think we should not do that worthless mission again. Why don't you just give us another challenging mission? One that does not involve cleaning, farming or catching cats, Naruto said angrily. Give respect, Naruto, Kakashi said. Hiruzen just sighed. Never did he think that the son of the fourth Hokage would be more disrespectful than before and has an incredibly short fuse. Kakashi, are you sure that these students of yours could handle a C-ranked mission even it's just for a month? The Hokage asked. Yes, and these kids sure have talents, he replied. The door opened revealing an old man with a bottle of sake in his hand. This is Tazuna, a bridge builder from Wave. He is here for an escort back to his home so that he may complete the bridge, the Hokage introduced. Looking at the old man, he thought that there was something suspicious, and he would confirm this upon going to the mission itself. Chapter 15, To Wave. Ready now? Kakashi asked. Yes, all three answered. As Team 7 and Tazuna walked down the road, Naruto's head began to fly. He's confident that all of his subordinates, especially Purple Zetsu, were doing their job perfectly well. However, the thing that worries him is the masked man who controlled the Kyuubi and attacked Konoha. Who is he? Where did he come from? What are his motives? Even though the masked man is the one behind of the Kyuubi's attack in Konoha, he couldn't help but feel hatred towards his parents for sealing the Kyuubi inside him, hatred towards Hiruzen for making him like a fool not telling the truth, and hatred for all the villagers in Konoha for mistreating him, except for the one serving him food in Ichiraku. Naruto pulled out a notebook from his bag and began to write codes that only he and his subordinates would understand. He muttered a word and all of the codes began to scatter in random directions to where his subordinates were located. To his delight, none of them saw what he had done. As they passed by two puddles, Naruto began to grow suspicious. While Sasuke and Sakura ignored it, Kakashi seemed also to focus on it. After they passed the two puddles, two figures suddenly leapt out. They wore bladed gauntlets with shuriken chains between them wrapping Kakashi, only for it to poof, a wooden log on its place. Fire release, great fireball technique, Sasuke blew fire towards the two ninjas to which they easily dodged. Sasuke continued to fight the one-horned one using taijutsu while Naruto fought the other one. Sakura helped Sasuke by throwing some explosive kunai towards the one-horned ninja, yet he easily deflected. Multi-shadow clone jutsu, Naruto said while doing the hand sign, but only in pretense. As the clones charged towards his enemy, they were defeated by the ninja. How's that? It doesn't work against me. You are a worthless fool, then he laughed. I must kill the old man now. Naruto was about to get angry, yet he managed to control himself. He doesn't want to waste his chakra to fight this weakling. As he was evading the attack of the ninja, the gauntlet tore his turban apart, revealing his extremely long hair reaching to his mid-calf. You, what? Before the ninja would ask about his Rin Sharingan, he extended his hair, constricting the ninja until he fell out of consciousness. As Sasuke and Sakura defeated the other ninja, he used his forehead protector to wrap it quickly around his forehead to avoid them seeing his third eye. Kakashi went out of the bushes and said, "Good job. You've exceeded my expectations," and He stopped talking when he saw Naruto with an extremely long hair. "Naruto, is that you?" he asked. Sakura and Sasuke turned to Naruto and were astounded by his extremely long hair. "Since when did your hair get this long? Is this the reason why you wrap your head with a turban?" Sasuke asked. "I don't want my hair to be damaged, but it seems the ninja has cut off my turban, thereby revealing my hair. Anyway, don't tell this to anyone else. They'll tease me," he replied. "Either way, you three put out my fears aside. Now, tie up these two and I'll send one of my summons to inform the village. Now Tazuna, I would like to have a word with you." Tazuna, sweating a bit, reluctantly followed Kakashi into the forest. The three waited for the two to finish until they went out the forest. "So, what's the story?" Sasuke asked. "Apparently, Tazuna is building a bridge to connect Wave to the mainland. The problem is that a shipping magnate named Gato has a stranglehold on the country and does not want the bridge built, otherwise he loses his hold over the country. He uses his company as a front for smuggling illegal goods and drug dealing, and the bridge would ruin that, so he has hired missing nins to kill Tazuna," he explained. Naruto smirked at the statement. "So, I could be able to dance more effectively." "Oi Naruto, don't make jokes at this time," Sakura said, annoyed. "As for now, this mission has become B ranked, if not A ranked, considering that there would be stronger ninja that would be in our way." "I was right after all. Suspicions confirmed. There are a lot of stronger enemies ahead. This is going to be more fun," Naruto thought, smiling devilishly. Tazuna then told his story about his father and his fatherless grandchild. As the story continues, Naruto didn't listen, instead smiling to himself that he would have a chance to fight other strong ninjas as well. "We are going to complete this mission. After all, we can't just let that Gato do what he wants," Kakashi said. They once again began to walk. Time runs by quickly that it was already sunset. When night came, Kakashi decides to make camp and decided to leave early in the morning. Everything has been set and they sat down around the campfire. Naruto hates this, as he doesn't want to sleep with several people. He preferred to sleep alone in one of his dimensions. Naruto looked at the sky, and once his plans would be finished, he would fulfill his lifelong ambition. He was cut off by Sakura when she asked, "Naruto, you've completely changed. Did something happen?" Naruto turned to her and said, "I am no longer that dead last you knew. Sakura, people change." He stood up and walked to a forest. "Naruto, where are you going?" Kakashi asked. "I would like to sleep alone, Kakashi-sensei," he said calmly. "I won't allow you, because my team's safety is in my hands. Don't worry, I can handle anything." Before Kakashi could stop him, he disappeared. Alone once again, he used Yomatsu Hirasaka and transported himself to his paradise dimension, where there are beaches and the sun shone brightly. There were forests that lead up to a castle. Naruto lied down on the sand, enjoying the cool breeze of the wind, drifting himself into sleep. Chapter 16, Revealed Abilities. Naruto slept for a few hours in his paradise dimension. Before anyone would wake up, he used Yomatsu Hirasaka to exit the dimension, and it was entirely dawn when he returned. He waited for several moments, then some codes appeared, from his subordinates, a message that they successfully built another fortress at Hoshigakur, their another hideout. Pleased by these results, he smiled and wrote another set of codes which flew off, going to his subordinates, telling them now's the right time to execute one of their plans. Morning came, he went back to the camp. Seeing everyone awake, Kakashi asked him, "How was your sleep, specifically that you're alone?" "I slept marvelously. The cold wind brushing my skin lulled me to sleep, the silence of the night and the absence of people made it all better," he replied, smiling. "Let's get to the mission now." Several minutes later. They were now riding a boat, and he could see that the mist is extremely thick, not to mention highly dangerous and also quite advantageous at the same time, considering the mists can be used as a hiding place for ninjas who don't want to be seen when tracking someone. Smirking at the idea, he could feel that there are people coming towards them. "How did Gato get so rich, by the way?" Sakura asked, breaking the silence. "Perhaps he inherited it," Kakashi replied. "I doubt so. Maybe he got it through corruption and some assassinations," Naruto said. "He's a poor excuse for a human being," says Tazuna. "Considering that fact, he may have hired missing nins, and that's what makes this mission dangerous. Missing nins are commonly S-ranked, and they are not to be underestimated," Kakashi said. A few minutes have passed. The boat stopped by at the bank of the river. "Good luck stopping the moron," says the rower. And then he rose away. Now that we are here, guard Tazuna, ordered Kakashi. The three nodded. As they were walking, Naruto thought back at Kurama. He was sure that one day this Baijuo would betray him, that's why he sent a coded message to his subordinates never to trust this individual. At least, they have two hideouts for now, yet one was temporary, to which is Uzushio. Hoshigakure is a stable hideout where they would let Tonari rule as the Hoshikage while Naruto himself was the true power behind the position. They will use the village itself as a prison for captured people, civilians or ninjas alike. This place would also serve as one of his subordinates' homes for their benefit. Sensing something, he threw a kunai at the bushes. A cry of an animal could be heard before the kunai was embedded into the tree. Everyone was shocked as to what Naruto did. Looking to where he threw the kunai, they saw that the kunai was embedded into a white rabbit. Naruto, why did you kill the rabbit? Poor animal, Sakura exclaimed. Rabbits aren't supposed to be white. It's in the middle of spring, Naruto replied. Get down, Kakashi shouted. As they got down, a massive sword flew out of nowhere, spinning like a boomerang and embedding itself on a nearby tree. Copy Ninja Kakashi, as expected, no wonder why the demon brothers lost. Momochi Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist. Then Naruto looks at Zabuza. So you're the one I sensed earlier. I'm stronger than you and I can defeat you easily, but if an opportunity presents itself today, I'll be glad to eat you up, he thought while smirking. As much as I would like to fight you, I'm only here for the old man, Zabuza said. Protect Tazuna and stay out of the way. He's out of your league, Kakashi shouted. As badly as Naruto wanted to fight Zabuza, he decided to follow Kakashi's plans and try to think a strategy that would make him show a few of his abilities in order to protect the worthless old man, the way he puts it. As they were about to fight, Kakashi raised his forehead protector, to which revealed a closed eye, and he opened eye, revealing a Sharingan underneath. Sasuke and Sakura were shocked to see Kakashi having a Sharingan in one of his eyes. Zabuza readied himself, and faster than the normal eye could catch, he grabs his sword and removes it from the tree. Soon, the mist grew thicker and thicker. Hearing Kakashi's voice, it said, "Be careful. Zabuza is a master of the silent killing technique," he warned. Then another voice was heard. 8 points, larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart. Now which will be my killing point? As Zabuza finished his statement, Naruto couldn't hold it any longer. They were astounded when he laughed, and he laughed with tears falling down from his eyes. Naruto? Kakashi muttered. What are you laughing at, kid? There's nothing funny at all, Zabuza said angrily. Naruto calmed down a bit and stared at Zabuza, smirking darkly. I couldn't help it, Zabuza. You're really an interesting person after all. It makes me want to dance with you. Naruto, are you insane? This man is strong. What has gotten in your mind, and why do you want to fight him? Sasuke shouted. He's right, Zabuza replied. I guess I'll just kill you then. Suddenly, a humanoid shape made of water appeared at Naruto's back, attempting to kill him with a sword made of water. Die, the clone shouted. Before Naruto was to be sliced by the sword, a kunai landed on the figure, to which it turned back into water. It was Kakashi who saved Naruto. As Kakashi destroyed the Zabuza clone, the real Zabuza appeared behind him and attacked him, only for it to be dodged by Kakashi's kunai. Zabuza did some hand seals and said, "Water prison technique." All of Team 7 was trapped inside an orb of water to which they can't breathe. Sakura and Sasuke couldn't breathe while Naruto calmed down. As Kakashi was about to free anyone else from the jutsu, he saw a pair of hands appear from nowhere, grabbing Zabuza at his neck and slamming him into the ground. As Zabuza stood up, he asked, "What was that?" Kakashi then freed anyone from Zabuza's jutsu, and he was shocked when Naruto was nowhere to be seen. "Where's Naruto?" Kakashi asked. "He was just here with us," Sakura replied. "Sasuke, have you seen him?" "No." "What did you do, Kakashi?" Zabuza asked. "Do what?" "A pair of hands strangled me." As he finished his statement, a space opened behind him, to whom Team 7 were surprised, including Tazuna, to where the upper torso of Naruto emerged and strangled Zabuza. Zabuza looked behind him and his eyes widened with surprise as Naruto's lower half was in the rift of space while he managed to strangle him with half of his body. As he prepares to swing his sword towards Naruto, Naruto retreated back inside the rift and it closed, leaving Zabuza and the rest surprised. A rift opened beside Sasuke and Naruto came out, completely unscathed. What? What was that? Zabuza asked. A space-time ninjutsu, yet an advanced version. Where did he learn it? Kakashi thought. Sasuke looked at Naruto with jealousy as he clenched his fists in anger. How did he get this strong? Yomatsu Hirasaka, the ancestor of all space-time ninjutsu, he said grinning. You forced me to use the technique because you've impressed me a lot. As a present, I'm going to impress you as well. Before Zabuza attacks, Naruto constricted him with his hair. Chapter 17, Questions and Lies. As Naruto was constricting Zabuza with his hair, Kakashi took the opportunity and attacked with the water release, Great Waterfall technique, a technique he copied earlier from Zabuza when the latter attempted to use it, leaving Zabuza defeated. Naruto let go of his hold at Zabuza and he was dropped onto the ground. I didn't expect that you have tricks up your sleeve, Kakashi said. Where did you learn it? Not telling you, he replied. As Kakashi was about to kill Zabuza, a hunter nin appeared, and threw 2 needles at Zabuza's neck, killing him. Who are you? Sasuke asked. I'm going to take his body away and destroy it. Anyways, sorry for the trouble. He then took Zabuza's body away and disappeared quickly. As the duo disappeared, Kakashi said, Now Zabuza's dead, let's head back to Tazuna's home. As they were walking towards Tazuna's house, everyone was silent, considering the events that took place, including signs of Naruto's behavior that he's a bit twisted and has techniques that are highly impossible for a Jonin to handle. As they walked, Kakashi asked, Naruto, according to the information given to me by the 3rd Hokage, you are a hyperactive kid and is an idiot. But the one I've seen earlier is a different Naruto, quite a tactician. Now tell me, was the dead last kid a facade? Naruto didn't answer and made the other 3 looked at him. He then replied, Sakura and Shikamaru asked me several times why did I change. Well, to put it simply, people do change. I've gone through several troubles throughout my life and that made me grow up this way. What are you trying to say? Kakashi asked suspiciously. Let's say, Mizuki-sensei revealed something to me, and that made me snapped. That's all. Asked Iruka-sensei about it, he knows. I don't want to elaborate the details. Just elaborating makes me bring some sort of bad memories. Fine then. Once they made it into the house, a crying woman hugged Tazuna. I'm so glad you're alive, father, she said. Thank you so much for him. I'm Tsunami, by the way, his daughter, she introduced. I'll prepare dinner for all of you. As they were sitting on a table, Kakashi was bombarded with several questions that he himself wants to know. Having met Naruto, he has experienced habits that he did not do a long time ago, such as peeping in women's bath or having memory lapses. He was also surprised that Naruto has a space-time ninjutsu. Well, his father, Minato Namikaze, has one and is called the Flying Thunder God technique, yet Naruto's technique was extremely advanced and it takes a lot of chakra to open. As the food was served and they were eating, Kakashi suddenly asked, Naruto, if you don't mind, could you tell me more about this space-time ninjutsu of yours? Naruto stared at him and smirked, and why do you want to know more about it? Don't tell me you're interested. According to you, that space-time ninjutsu of yours is the ancestor of all space-time ninjutsu. Is it true? Yes, and I won't tell any more about it. If you were to ask where I learned it, I just trained and I was surprised that I could open rifts in space. Yes, it really taxes my chakra reserves and I rarely use it except in life or death situations, he lied. Very well. As they finished eating, everybody slept, except for Naruto, who was left awake lying on his bed. He went out and looked at the stars in the night skies. Sensing some movement behind him, he turned and it was Shino. What are you doing here? He asked. You'll be caught if you just randomly appear wherever I am. Don't worry, my lord. Everyone was sound asleep, including the Aburame clan. You've chosen the right vessel for me, my lord, as everyone was not suspicious as I disappear from time to time, he replied. So, any news about Kurama? Not yet. But I have some interesting news to you. I've been seeking another place where we could establish another hideout, and guess what, I found an interesting place. It's called the Land of the Demons. Land of the Demons, why such a name? There lived a priestess in a shrine named Miraku who sealed a demon named Moryu. Its soul was sealed in a shrine located there and its body in the land of the swamps. She died after sealing it. Naruto smirked and stood up. Shino, tell me, is this so-called demon powerful? Yes, my lord. A descendant of the clan that follows Moryu named Yomi wants to revive the demon to complete its 1,000-year kingdom together with his ghost army. He could release the demon if the stars were right. Oh, I'll send my avatar to the place. And before I go, I have also another interesting piece of information for you. What is it? The daughter of Miraku, Shion, has a powerful ability. Like her mother, she could seal demons, but her greatest ability is the ability to predict the future itself, thus knowing when will she die. If she was about to die, her ability gives a warning to her past self, and her past self would have someone die in her place. Quite an ability, isn't it? Naruto's eyes widened with surprise and he said, Shino, I want the power myself. I shall do this quickly. Before she could predict that I would come for her eyes. Naruto glowed with a white hue, and another one stood in his place, albeit with a short black hair and has brownish eyes without the Rin Sharingan on his forehead, wearing a white kimono with cherry blossom designs and has a white hakama, wearing black boots on to compensate the attire. Is this your avatar? Shino asked. Yes, and I'm Mitsui, the avatar of Byakuya. I will claim this power for myself. Mitsui flew, going to the land of the demons, making sure that after getting Shion and Moryu's power, will come back to Naruto's body himself. Morning came and Naruto now was sitting on the table as Tsunami is preparing food. He forced himself not to smirk so that he won't be mistaken as a psychotic person. Suddenly, a young child came into the table. As he sat down, Naruto observed the boy. He considered making the boy as his subordinate, yet he merely shrugged the thought into his mind. Tazuna introduced the boy to everyone that it was his grandson Inari, and Naruto seemed to not care about the child. He continued to eye the boy, and suddenly the boy said, "What are you looking at?" "Don't be rude, Inari," Tsunami scolded. My, don't worry. I just find the child so cute," Naruto stated. "Thank you," Inari replied. "To be honest, the child is as ugly as hell. To be added, weak, too," he thought. As they were eating, Inari pushed his place and quickly went upstairs. "Is he all right?" Sakura asked. "He has gone through a lot of problems for one as a young child," Tazuna answered. "What happened to him?" Sasuke asked. Tazuna told them how Inari's father was killed by Gato's men. It sounded like his death would stomp out hope for the Wave Country. As Naruto heard the story, he is really eager to recruit this young boy, yet he is eager to think of the consequences if he ever be his subordinate. He has known many betrayals of subordinates towards their leaders, that why he was careful when he adopts someone into the new Otsutsuki. Soon he came into a decision: he would not recruit the child because he doesn't have the potential to be a ruthless murderer. "I'll just go out for a while," Naruto asked for permission and everyone simply nodded. As soon as he got out, he walked near a field of flowers. Putting his index finger towards his head, details came into his mind that Mitsui, his avatar, has done practically well, becoming a guard of the Priestess Shion, increasing further his agenda of absorbing Shion's ability to predict the future and also get near of Moryu's shrine in the land of the demons. With this ability of predicting the future, it would a great step to execute his plans. As he was walking, he saw a feminine figure in a distance, wearing an elaborate kimono and carrying a basket. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "I should be the one asking you that," the person answered. "My name is Haku, what's yours?" "Uzumaki Naruto," he smiled. He carefully looked at Haku and Haku also stared at him. Is something wrong? Are you a man or a woman?" Haku burst out laughing and he replied, "I'm a man." "Really, you look more like a woman to me," Naruto stated. "Well, that's what most people say." As he was picking some flowers, Naruto looked towards the flowers he has gathered. They were plants used to cure wounds, and Naruto immediately presumed that this one is a ninja. He's a bit familiar. Where did I see him again? Naruto thought. "You're not from here, aren't you?" "Yes, and I only follow one man who is precious to me," he replied. "So, what kind of person is he?" "Stern but a bit secretive." "I see. So Naruto, do you have anyone precious to you?" Naruto's eyes widened with surprise at his statement and he replied, "I do have. I don't have a lot of friends, but these friends of mine were incredibly precious to me. Not only precious but more precious than any other thing in this world, aside from power. I literally view them as my family because I know they'll never betray me." Considering his answer, he was sure that his subordinates would never betray him because they're following his orders absolutely. Not only that, he gave them last names, except for Tonari, as he was an Otsutsuki himself. As the patriarch of the new Otsutsuki clan, He made it sure that his clan members would never be captured at any costs and he would rescue them when it comes to trouble. When a person has something important to protect, that's when they can become truly strong, Haku smiled. Naruto nods and for the first time, he smiled and this smile of his was genuine. I like your principle, Haku. I hope you are a potential family member. Family member? Nothing, never mind. They continued to talk to each other and as the day slowly sets, Haku left. Naruto smiled and concluded that Haku was the one who killed Zabuza and he would do everything to protect this man. If he would make these ninjas his subordinates, he was sure that these ninjas would become extremely loyal to him. He stood up and went back on his way to Tazuna's house. Chapter 18, Land of Eternal Night. Mitsui has infiltrated the priestess's home perfectly. Posing as one of her guards, he observed the woman in her room and he could tell that this woman is extremely powerful yet weak because she hasn't been taught ninjutsu by any of her guards. Plus, she is pompous, spoiled and pampered throughout her whole life and that made her apathetic to anyone else. She also complains in the slightest of things, to which Mitsui made him hate this woman more. As night descends, he carefully went to the place where the shrine Moryu was sealed. He may not have the Rin Sharingan but he could cast Yomatsu Hirasaka using his willpower alone, as he was a part of Naruto's power all along. He used Yomatsu Hirasaka and opened a dimension where the stars were right and did the ritual on how to release Moryu. As he was doing the ritual, Yomi and his gang of 4 were secretly watching in a distance. As the demon was released, Moryu asked Mitsui, "You're not a part of the clan that once worshipped me a long time ago. Tell me, who are you?" "My name is Mitsui." "Tell me, do you have plans of becoming my subordinate? I will grant you more power if you agree with my plans." "I have no plans of becoming a subordinate of yours. I was here simply to use your power for myself alone," he smirked. Hearing this, Yomi and the gang of 4 appeared in Mitsui's front. "I would not allow you to do that," Yomi shouted. He bowed down to Moryu and said, "You could use my body as a vessel for now. After we execute this man, we will execute Shion so that she would no longer seal you again." Moryu nodded and he possessed Yomi. "Kill them," Moryu ordered, now possessing Yomi's body. As the gang of 4 attacked Mitsui, he easily evaded each attack. Never doing any hand seals, he extended his hand and a burst of fire appeared, roasting the 4, thereby killing them. Shion woke up that night, receiving a vision that someone has freed Moryu. One of Shion's servants came into her room. "Is there anything wrong, Lady Shion?" With trembling voice, she said, "I want to go to the shrine where Moryu was kept. One of my guards freed him." The servant nodded and they quickly prepared to transport Shion into the shrine itself. Flashback. "Are you one of my new guards?" "Yes, Lady Shion, and my name is Mitsui." "Pleased to serve you, my lady," he then bowed. "You know what to do," she stated. Mitsui left and Shion was suspicious of this man. There is a heavy feeling that has been resonating inside her, that this man would bring doom upon her. As she was riding the palanquin, she muttered, "I was right after all." After meeting him, he was so suspicious. "I didn't expect that he would execute this upon our first meeting." Yomi and Mitsui were panting heavily. "I didn't expect that you were so good, considering for a mere mortal like you," Moryu and Yomi's body said. "Thanks for the compliment. You, too, I didn't know that you were this strong." The two then continued to exchange a flurry of punches and kicks. Mitsui attacked Moryu with a lightning attack, only for it to stop and to be countered towards him, which Mitsui forced to dodge. "Damn. I couldn't use Yomatsu Hirasaka because I'm only an avatar. If my real body was here, I could defeat this man easily," he thought. "Giving up?" Moryu asked, his voice said mockingly. "Don't be arrogant, demon. You're just lucky that my real body isn't here. But even in this form of mine, I could still defeat you. The fight hasn't even begun yet," he smirked. "I like you, kid. I'm not sure if this would work. I could only cast Yomatsu Hirasaka thrice a day and this is my 3rd cast. I'm going to gamble on this one. What are you planning to do now?" Mitsui just smirked, and he muttered, "Yomatsu Hirasaka." As Shion was being transported to the shrine, the ground shook, leaving her palanquin being dropped on the ground. "Lady Shion, are you okay?" her guard asked. Instead of answering the guard's question, she said, "I sense an enormous amount of power from the temple." Meanwhile with Moryu. "What are you doing, kid?" he asked frantically. The ground was shaking ferociously and boulders from mountains came falling down. Suddenly, the land of demons were nowhere to be found and was transported somewhere else. After finishing the deed, Mitsui was panting heavily. The shaking of the ground stopped and Moryu asked, "Do you think you could defeat me with such a deed?" Instead, Mitsui just laughed and replied, "Do you think it is for defeating you? I just transported the land of the demons outside the 5 great shinobi countries. Now, we're in the vast ocean in an unknown location. With Shion." "What is this?" she asked, her eyes widened with shock. She saw in a distance waves crashing against the shore. "There is no sea in the land of the demons." "How?" "Wait, Lady Shion," her servants shouted. She didn't listen and instead ran going to the temple where Moryu was kept. "What is this enormous power I felt? Mitsui, what are you planning to do with Moryu? Such feat, you transported an entire land in a vast ocean outside of the elemental countries. You transported the entire land using your space-time ninjutsu, isn't it?" "Yes," Mitsui replied while panting heavily. "Seems you're out of chakra. I want your body. That way, I could become more powerful," he grinned. Several hours passed, and everyone was asleep. Naruto felt that his avatar was in danger. Sneaking outside the window, he teleported himself going to the land of demons. He was determined to save his manifested chakra after all. At the shrine, Shion was surprised that Mitsui and Moryu fighting each other. "Mitsui, what are your intentions?" she screamed. "Lady Shion, even we just met today, I want your powers for myself including that of Moryu's." "Oh, the one who could seal me away? Looks like a 3-way fight, how amusing," Moryu chuckled. "There will be no 3-way fights." They were surprised when Naruto suddenly arrived. Mitsui then stood up and came near Naruto, to which he became a ball of chakra and went inside Naruto's body. "Who are you?" Shion asked. "Where's Mitsui? What did you do to him?" "Mitsui and I are the same. I don't have time anymore. I want to finish this fight as quickly as possible." "You won't finish the fight, Mitsui," Moryu stated. "I will," Naruto grinned darkly. "And by the way, not Mitsui, Byakuya." Naruto removed his forehead protector and he flew upwards going to the sky. Moryu levitated and followed Naruto. "Brat, you're not running away from me," Moryu shouted. Naruto remained calm and opened a dimension using Yomatsu Hirasaka, to where a sky with the red moon from Naruto's paradise dimension was transported into the skies above the land of demons. "Shine upon this land, infinite Tsukuyomi." The red moon glowed into a white light to where Moryu suddenly couldn't move including Shion, with their eyes turning into Rinnegan as an effect that they were being affected by the genjutsu. "I can't move," Shion muttered. "I can't move, what have you done, brat?" Moryu shouted. Naruto smirked and roots grew out from nowhere entangling those living in the land of demons. They were wrapped by tree-like appendages and Moryu was caught by it. Before Moryu's soul could escape Yomi's body, Naruto used his black mass to absorb his soul directly and fuse it into his own. As he absorbed Moryu's soul, glowing purple lines appeared on various parts of his body. As Yomi's body was wrapped with tree-like appendages, Naruto descended to the ground. He then saw Shion in a distance, slowly being wrapped by the appendages. Shion looked at him and said while being wrapped by appendages, "Why, what are you?" After finishing her statement, she was completely wrapped and her wrapped body was hung on the branches of the trees together with other people. "With your powers and Moryu's power, I shall make this land my personal hideout, and I shall call this land as the Land of Eternal Night," Naruto said. Chapter 19, Knowing the Avatar. With the purple lines disappearing from his body after absorbing Moryu's soul, Naruto looked up to the roots of the trees that bound the entire population of the Land of the Demons, now Land of Eternal Night. He has casted the infinite Tsukuyomi on the populace of the Land of Demons, and his infinite Tsukuyomi is special as he could cast this on selected individuals which would not endanger the world. This was one of his plans, to erase the entirety of the people's population in the Land of Demons just to gain a brand new set of powers and some land to be his own personal fortress, not to mention the Land of the Dead. As the moon he teleported from one of his dimensions illuminates the whole area, the animals of the land were also affected by the genjutsu. Deciding to dispel it, he used Yomatsu Hirasaka to teleport back the moon he used for the infinite Tsukuyomi in his paradise dimension, thus dispelling the light. Yet all of the inhabitants were still bound by the appendages of the trees. He absorbed all of the life forces of the inhabitants, including Shion's, and an array of powerful abilities were added to his own. Truly enough, Shion has incredible powers, to which he could use to empower himself. After absorbing each of the inhabitants' life forces, Naruto decided to stay in the area for a meantime. Rearranging the structure of the trees that bound the inhabitants, he decided to put the roots underground and make the trees a bit normal in appearance. Exploring further, he destroyed the houses of the former people, one by one. After destroying each, he returned to his true form and began altering the structure of the land from his very liking. Using his powers, he grew flowers that are sinister in appearance. He grew black and gold roses around. He also grew trees that have leaves as dark as the night and purple cherry blossoms around. He then went to the place where she lives. Destroying her former home, he created a castle emblazoned with gold gargoyles on its walls and a fountain that makes the whole appearance otherworldly. He then surrounded his new home with high walls and palace gates. He then decorated the interior of his castle with red carpets and a golden throne with several gems. He went from room to room, decorating it with his very own liking. He got out of his palace and flew across the land, altering the surrounding plants, turning them into volatile ones that would devour any creature that would attempt to invade his home. Outside the shrine where Morio was former sealed, he altered the structure, making it a place where he and his subordinates would train if they have time. As he finished altering every structure of the land of the demons is not recognizable. Any outsider who would step into the island would marvel in its beauty, as if they stepped into another world. Naruto laid out plans that no one would suspect why the land of the demons disappeared without a trace. Flying across the entire ocean, he noted that his avatar teleported the place extremely far from the elemental countries, making it safe from any would-be attackers, and finding the place would be impossible as the place where the former land of the demons was teleported was filled with storms and shrouding mists and ninjas cannot walk on the water, they'll just submerge. Naruto smirked at the idea of this, and as he flew, he suppressed his chakra, thus returning to Naruto form, with his hair up to his mid-calf and returning again as whisker marks. Putting again his forehead protector on his forehead, he realized that he has a few hours left for sleep, as it is now 1 a.m, and decided to use Yomatsu Hirasaka to quickly teleport back in wave. Before doing so, he manifested Mitsui again, his avatar, to create another land of the demons so that no one would suspect why the land suddenly disappeared, only to suspect that the entire population were massacred. He made sure that Mitsui would get some corpses from their hideout that he deemed not usable and made them dress in the locals' attire, altering their faces slightly to make sure they're not remembered. He made sure to leave false evidences to put the blame on somebody else. Setting all of these plans in motion, he quickly returned to wave. As he was now in wave, he slept under a tree. Looking at his clock, it was 2:23 in the morning and decided to sleep fast. Hokage-sama, I received a report concerning about the land of the demons, a random Anbu stated. It's still early in the morning, what is it? Hiruzen replied, while drinking coffee. Merchants from our village who usually trade in the land reported that the entire inhabitants of the land of the demons were entirely massacred. Young children were of no exception. Upon hearing this, the mug of coffee he held on his hand dropped into the floor. Do you know who did it? Hiruzen asked worriedly. Unfortunately, we haven't found any evidences, the Anbu stated. First, the missing civilians, now this, Hiruzen put his hand on his head. I want more Anbu to be sent into the place. Find any evidences that killed the innocent people and what the motive is. Yes, Hokage-sama. The Anbu left and Hiruzen was left alone, contemplating his thoughts about the strange incidents that took place. What in the world was happening? Yes, the kidnapping of civilians have stopped, but now, a massacre outside the land of fire. Who does these things? Are they connected, he thought. Uzushio hideout. I have some interesting news to you people, Sora said. What news? Kimimaro asked. I was at Konoha a while ago and I sneaked into the 3rd Hokage's office to get some information about Root. I was nearly caught, but luckily, I used my hallucination powers to hide myself. As Hiruzen was drinking coffee, an Anbu reported that the entire population of the land of the demons was massacred. So, what does that news have to do with us? Fuka asked. Well, I just feel that Byakuya is behind it. And how could it help his goal then, slaughtering those people? Except if there's another source of power that might catch his interest, Temujin explained. You're right about that, a voice intervened. They turned to look to where the voice came from, and it was from Naruto's avatar, Mitsui. Tonari readied himself to attack. Who are you? Tonari, don't worry. I'm an avatar of Byakuya and I came back to check on you people. You could call me Mitsui. Avatar? Sumaru asked. Avatar, another manifestation of an individual. It is different from clones, as clones could easily vanish and the transfer of information happens when the clones disappear. However, an avatar is a manifestation of a particular individual in another place. To put it simply, it allows an individual to visit another place and gather information, whereas the other one does a different thing. In other words, you could do different things and gather information at the same time. Unlike clones, we avatars do not vanish when hit in a slight manner. We function similar to real humans, however we only vanish if we're out of chakra, he explained. So, you're saying that you're a manifestation of Byakuya-sama? Kimimaro asked suspiciously. Yes. Mitsui then explained how Naruto sent him to get unusable corpses here in their hideout and put those in Land of the Demons. He also explained everything what happened. By the way, I'm going to return to Byakuya's body. I just explained everything that happened. Anyway, another reason I'm here is to give these Gelul stones I've created using the powers of the Gelul vein. Put this inside your bodies, except for Temujin because he is one. This could make you immortal and live past your natural lifespan, he explained. He handed the stones to his subordinates, each embedding the stones inside their own bodies. As Mitsui vanished, Sora broke the silence. Humph. Byakuya really has no qualms sacrificing other people just to make himself more powerful. Are you saying that Byakuya-sama would sacrifice us? Kimimaro asked. No, Kimimaro. I'm just saying that he doesn't care what happens to other people just to make himself more powerful. But he cares for us. And I don't care what other people would say to him. I'll follow him till the end, Sora replied. Me, too. He saved me from my loneliness, and here I am, much more powerful than before. My existence is not for naught because of him, Kimimaro said. Chapter 20, Symptoms. Gato's Den. Zabuza looks bored waiting for Gato while Haku was just sitting beside him, thinking their plan on how they would kill Tazuna. Soon, the door opens revealing a short stout man. When will you kill the bridge builder? It's been over a week already and you haven't done anything. He shouted. Humph, Gato. Do you think I will listen to you if not for the money? I didn't expect that one of the ninjas that guard Tazuna would have special abilities, Zabuza replied in a menacing tone. Gato glares at Zabuza disappointedly. You have until tomorrow. If you can't make it, I'll go find someone who would easily do the job, Gato said angrily. Zabuza put his sword near Gato's next. My safety is in risk here. I demand more money from you, Zabuza stated. Gato looks at him angrily with fear in his eyes. The two bodyguards of Gato then stop Zabuza. I will give you more money provided that you kill that old man successfully, he retorted. Then, he left with his bodyguards. Tomorrow, huh? Haku said. Zabuza just nodded. As Gato was now away from Zabuza, he said, the two of you, I want you to kidnap the old man's family. He will be forced to negotiate with us. Why send us if Zabuza could kill the bridge builder? One of his guards asked. Considering the situation, it would be easier to get rid of Zabuza. From the beginning, I just hired him to finish the man, but now he's threatening me, that's why I would want to see him die. I have no reason to waste money for him, Gato replied. Why should you care about? The bodyguard was trailed off when Gato intervened. Don't disobey me. I pay you good enough. Just do the job and you'll get a decent amount of money or more than that. The two guards nodded and they left. Zabuza, I can't wait to see you die, Gato muttered, chuckling. It was night again, and Naruto would always sleep alone in the woods or in his own land. Ever since he absorbed Morio's soul, he started to act differently. Yes, he has become much wiser, more intelligent, more cunning, more sinister and gaining much power. He acknowledged that Morio's soul was indeed too powerful to handle. Kakashi would ask him if he's alright and he'll always say yes, however deep inside, his head would ache terribly and would wake up from terrible nightmares. Shien's power also had a profound effect on him. Out of the blue, he would be surrounded in a pinkish glow, and his eyes would have Shien's dojutsu in it for random moments. Maybe this was the consequence of absorbing too much power. He has also absorbed the sealed powers of Miraku and Shien's bell, and he could feel that the Priestess powers and Morio's powers were fighting inside him, giving him terrible spasms randomly. Today, he noticed that glowing purple lines would appear from his body even he was not using Morio's power. And today, he sought to control it. He closed his eyes and glowing purple lines appeared. He lightly tapped the ground and it cracked. Morio's soul gave him tremendous physical strength, yet the headache is there again. Returning to his true form doesn't help the situation. The pain would still remain, making him faint. This time, he exited Morio mode and collapsed in the ground, panting heavily. He looked to the stars and wondered if he could finish everything quickly. Closing his eyes, he fell into a deep sleep. A young Naruto was running from a group of villagers. "Go away, demon," they shouted. "Please stop, please," he pleaded. Yet, they didn't listen. They took delight beating him and stabbing him with their knives. Soon the entire scenery changed. It was Sora who was stabbing him, including all of his subordinates. "Dai Byakuya, die," they shouted in unison. "Stop! Stop!" Naruto woke up with a sweat. It was now morning, and trying to steady himself, he relaxed for a moment, hoping to get the unwanted dream off his mind. Morio's soul is extremely dark and corrupt, but at the same time extremely powerful. Shien's power, on the other hand, is filled with light and purity. The two powers frequently fought inside me. I need to train with this effectively, he muttered to himself. He got up to himself and went back to Tazuna's house. Thankfully enough, Kakashi wasn't being too suspicious on him, yet he couldn't help with his other teammates. As soon as Naruto was inside Tazuna's house, he ran into Inari. "Do you have any cigarettes here?" he asked. "Do you smoke?" The young child countered the question. "Isn't it obvious? I want cigarettes now," Naruto snapped. "Where is it?" There," Inari pointed at the direction of Tazuna's room. Naruto went there and take out all the cigarettes, putting them inside his pocket. Sasuke then saw him anxious, and out of curiosity he asked, "Naruto, something the problem?" "No," was the brief reply. "I'll go out for a meantime. I need to take my mind off from stress." He then hurriedly went outside. Grabbing a cigarette from his pocket, he lit it up using fire from his fingertips. Putting it inside his mouth, he thought that minors aren't supposed to take cigarettes. "Asuma smokes, Tazuna smokes, what's the problem if I smoke, too? It's not I'm going to die from just a simple cigarette," he said as he took the cigarette outside his mouth and blew smoke. "I didn't expect that cigarettes were these good. It could help me relieve my nightmares for a meantime." As he finished the first cigarette, he lighted another two and put those into his mouth, feeling addictive to the feeling of smoking. "I don't care what they say, this is my ninja way," Naruto chuckled. Thank you for watching, see you in part 3.